Sup, fellow quacks. So in today's video, I want to talk about OC hoarding because it's a topic I've been seeing floating around on Toy House lately, and I'm not sure if it's something talked about within like the broader art community, but I still thought it would be an interesting subject. Anyway, if you're wondering what Toy House is, it's an OC storage site, and the culture on there is definitely very interesting. I feel like that's like the main hub of like adoptables and like character trading and whatnot. Like it's definitely a thing off-site, but I feel like Toy House is definitely like a major website for all that. And chances are, if you haven't heard of it or if you're not able to use the site, it's because it's invite only. So there's definitely this era of like exclusivity to Toy House. So yeah, the culture is definitely very, yeah. When it comes to OC hoarding, a lot of people on the website are very like anti-OC hoarding, or they'll side-eye you if you have a lot of OCs. And some of you are probably like, what the heck's the issue? What's wrong with having a lot of characters? That's not a bad thing. And you're right. But for some people, specifically people who are selling characters like, adoptables and whatnot, they might see someone with a lot of characters and think, this person has a lot of OCs. If I sell this adopt to this person, chances are they're probably not going to use them. Or if they do use them, they're probably going to just let them sit there for a bit. And I really don't like this logic. I could kind of understand the feeling of creating an adoptable and working really hard on the design and someone buys it and then they just never use it. But like something that really frustrates me about people on Toy House is that they have to realize that Toy House is a storage site. You don't have to put character bios on there. There is no have to. It is purely just a storage site. And some people just like to store the characters there. They don't want to go through the effort of putting like all of the info there. They might have it in like journals or Google Docs because we never know if Toy House might implode on itself or something like that. People like to fearmonger about that, but I really doubt it's going to happen. But it's always good to have like some sort of notes app thing or Google Docs or whatever, so that way all your OCs are secure. Not everyone has their OC's info on Toy House. They might have it somewhere else, and they just might think about their characters in their head, or they might draw their characters a lot, but they don't post it because it's a lot of work. I mean, I have a lot of doodles in my sketchbooks of OCs, but I'm not going to post them because it's a lot of effort, because I would not want to put just like random phone photos on there. I want to scan them, and scanning takes a while. It can be very exhausting, especially scanning like an entire sketchbook. I understand why some people don't want to go through that effort. So I really don't think it's fair to judge people for like how they use their characters on Toy House, because you never know what they're doing off site or like in their own personal time. That person could be going nuts with that character. They just don't show it on Toy House because, again, it's a storage site. Now, I will say I do understand certain parts of hoarding. Like, I do think that if someone were to have a lot of characters from like a specific designer, like let's say there's a designer has a lot of adoptables and this person buys like every adopt that comes out, like every time, immediately. I do think that would be kind of hoarding because they're not giving other people a chance to buy the characters. And I know some people might be like, well, first come, first serve, And like, yes, but also like you can't possibly see this adoptable and like, oh, I need this character. I need this character for this store. Like, really? Do you really need all these characters? Or are you just getting it just because it's like from a specific designer? Or are you getting it because you just want to chase the high of having a character in general? Because I do think there is a spending addiction issue within the adoptable character trade community that I don't think is talked about enough, where I think people spend way too much money buying characters. And while some people have compared this to like NFTs, I really don't think that's the case. I feel like it's not that bad, but it's definitely an issue. I know people are going to be like, let people do what they want with their money, but like, I do think spending addiction is a problem. And, if you're going to be spending money on adoptables, just be careful. Don't try to spend money on like every single character that you see. Spend it wisely. But I'm getting off topic. The point is that when it comes to hoarding, I think it's an issue when people are accumulating more characters than they really actually know what to do with. And they're kind of getting it in a way that's not just making them themselves. That's different. I consider it really hoarding if it's from other people. Like if you are getting characters through like trades or adoptables and you have like a crap ton of them and you're not doing anything with them, then yeah, that's a little iffy. But like at the end of the day, I really don't care enough to like truly judge. Like I have seen some accounts on Toy House where it's like several pages of like OCs, and it does make me sad to see that they all have like TBN, to be named, in their title for like a lot of them, and they have no bios. It does make me a little sad, but at the end of the day, really can't do anything about it, you know? Like, it sucks, but we can't control what people do with their characters. The only thing that I really have an issue with is if people are just like buying too many adopts and not letting other people have a chance to buy from them. And if you disagree with this, let me give you an analogy. Remember during the early parts of the pandemic when people were buying toilet paper in bulk? That would be like if during that time someone went to like Giant and they just bought the entire row or shelf of toilet paper for themselves. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. It's like, yes, you do need a lot of toilet paper, but like, you don't need all that toilet paper. Like, you gotta let some people have some for themselves, because that's not fair that other people don't get a chance. And something else I think people need to realize is that when it comes to having a lot of OCs for stories, sometimes stories have a huge cast of characters and you just need to have that cast to accommodate the story. Like, some people just have characters that they just have a lot of characters because they need a lot of characters for the story to make sense, for the plot to go along or whatever. Or maybe they just have a lot of side characters. Like, you know, like, I don't know why people gotta have make such a big deal out of it. And also, like, some people like me, I love making characters because it's fun. I do like to occasionally get adopts, mainly through trade. I don't really like to spend too much money on adoptables or like customs. Very rare for me. That's more of a treat, but like, I like to obtain them through art trades or character swaps or something like that because it's a bit more beneficial to me and I'm not spending money. But yeah, like, I enjoy making and receiving characters because it's fun. I like making the lore for them. And even though, yes, I don't draw them that much, I do like making them in like Tomodachi Life or Miitopia and watching my characters just interact with each other and just thinking about them. Like, I swear, if I had more motivation to draw them, I would. And I don't, but trust me, I would. And I do love making memes and stuff about them. Like, it's fun. I think having a lot of characters can be really fun, but I think some people don't realize that. They just think like, oh, you have a lot of characters, you don't care about them, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I don't think it's entirely bad to have a preference for certain OCs or to have favoritism for some, because that's just kind of how it is. I know some people will be like, oh, my OCs are my babies and whatnot. Like, they're, at the end of the day, they're fictional beings that you created in your own head or you received and they live in your head rent-free. It is basically just like a more grown-up version of playing with dolls. Imagine if some kid was giving you crap because you play with more toys than some other toys. Like, are you gonna make a big deal about that? No. So who cares, really? Like, that's the ultimate point of this video, is that who cares about what people do with their characters? As long as they're not overspending on adoptables or getting too many adopts from one person and not letting people have like a chance to adopt from that person, then like, it really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, OCs is about having fun first and foremost. It's a very personal hobby, and I don't understand why some people feel like they need to dictate what others do with their characters. I don't care what people do, okay? If you have 1,000 characters, that's awesome. I don't know how you do it. Frankly, I tend to downsize when I get to a certain number, but if you have 1,000 characters and you want to keep making more, that's awesome. I am rooting for someone to make 1,000,000 OCs. I really want to see that happen because that would be really awesome. I have no idea how they're going to store all those characters or how they're going to sift through it, but I want to see it. I want to meet a person that has a 1,000,000 characters, or maybe like 100,000 or maybe 500,000. Like, that would be awesome, actually. I don't know how they would do it, but still, awesome. To end this video, I want to give some advice for people who have a lot of characters, but they're like, man, I have so many characters, I don't know how to like organize them, like what to do with them or whatnot. This is a little bit of advice. So as someone who has over 100 characters, something I like to do is to group everyone off into different sections. Now, I have worlds, and those characters live in different worlds, but also I like to have like groups within groups. So, for example, I have a trio of characters, the Pretty Witch Trio, and they have their own plot going on. They are separated from the rest of the characters because they're their own group. So something you want to do is having a group of characters all be associated with each other, like having a friend group, or like maybe they're all related to each other, like their family, or maybe they're there's some sort of plot going on that requires these characters to come together or whatever. Like something like that, basically. Have the characters be associated with each other. Now, if you have just one character or like a bunch of characters that are all kind of like their own existing beings, they don't have like any associations to other characters, you could try to like group them up in some way, not just by like association, but just purely by like aesthetics or some other characteristic. Like, these are all the characters that are anthropes. These are all the characters that are humans. These are all the characters that have magical powers or blah, blah, blah. You know, basically grouping off characters by like characteristics or their occupations or something like that, or personality types, if you don't want them all to be associated with each other, like in terms of characters, like they exist in a void and that's it. That's cool. But yeah, that's something that I usually do. I don't have too many characters that are just existing by themselves. I do like to group them off, or at least have like a pairing of sorts, but if they don't, then that's fine. In general, I think just making characters have like some sort of group association makes it easier, and also it sort of lessens the chance of you wanting to like get rid of the characters or like shelve them if you're like you're losing interest in their story or just them as characters. Because if you have them in a group, then it gives you more opportunity to like tweak things so that way the group will stay together. And lastly, there are a lot of videos on YouTube currently that are giving advice on like what to do with your OCs, like fun things you can do. Like Mer Rants has a lot of videos on like fun things you can do with your OCs. So if you want to like watch videos like that, that also can help you give some inspiration for what to do with your characters. If you're feeling particularly like, man, I have so many OCs, I don't know what to do with them, that can give you an idea. Tomodachi Life and Miitopia, games like that where you can like insert your OCs into the story is something you can do because it's fun to watch your characters interact with each other like in a crossover. Also technically Smash counts because you have like the Mii Fighter. You can make your own OCs as one of the Mii Fighter characters, or you could do like a Hunger Games simulator thing, or the incorrect quote generator thing, or like taking personality tests or something like that. But that's more of like what to do with characters. Also, Google Docs is your best friend. I know that Google Docs has some like, it's not perfect, but it is pretty great for like organizing things. And if you want to have your OCs more organized, Google Docs is definitely a little bit better than Toy House because of like the folders you can have. Using Google Docs to like have everything categorized in different ways can also be very helpful. And I would say Notes app as well, or any sort of Notes app, but like, I don't know how like in depth you can be with like the folder organization. So I would say that's good for like if you have a smaller amount of characters. But obviously I'm addressing people with a ton of characters, like 100 plus. But anyway, after watching this video, hopefully you feel more motivated to use your OCs. Don't be brought down by people who are being judgy about what you do with your characters. Your characters are yours and yours only. They exist in your head and within your art or your writing. Don't feel like you owe people your lore, okay? That's kind of the point I'm getting at. I think that's another issue is people feel like you owe them lore of your characters when you really don't. You can keep your OC lore to yourself. You don't need to share if you don't want to. Just make your OCs and have fun with them. Have fun. That is the entire point of having characters. It's not, you don't have to force yourself to do anything with them. Go crazy, go nuts, have fun, don't let people get you down. Anyway, I'll see you quacks later.